The Fargo Five frequently asked questions. We've got PizzAndy, who is like the Bitcoin guy here in Fargo. You see that behind him and says Fargo Bitcoiners. So like he's the guy. So we are just going to launch into some questions about Bitcoin. Because that's, I think, going to be some awesome content.
Lay it on me.
We're going to make some content. But before we get to the content, there's one question that's always on the listener's mind ever since my wife invented this question a month and a half ago. What kind of shoes do you wear?
I wear Puma Romas. I have like 6 or 7 pairs of identical shoes that are all different colors.
The different colors, but it's the same style.
It is the same style.
How long have you been doing that?
Since about 2018.
People have weird shoe habits, I've come to notice.
I find something I like and I stick with it.
Yeah.
If I could get a pair that would last me a lot longer, I absolutely would.
I do that. I just bought like 6 thermals. There's like this waffle thermal shirt that's from Kohl's. It's the Kohl's brand. I just bought like 6 of them because I had one that I fell in love with. I'm like, this is my new... I think that's a man thing.
I strive for cartoon character level consistency in my wardrobe. That's a good way to say it.
Yeah, I took the words right out of my my mouth. All right, so let's jump right into it. And I've got actually a lot of opinions on this. If I can pull them out on live radio, I don't know, but I can go pretty deep and wide with this. So don't hesitate to throw the ball back at me. But we're gonna start with a really, really, really tough question. What backs Bitcoin anyway? It's not backed by anything. So what's even backing it?
So. This is a funny question that I've thought a lot about, and the analogy I'm going to give here is partially also going to differentiate Bitcoin from all the other quote-unquote cryptocurrencies.
Sure.
Explaining that is like explaining someone from an uncontacted tribe why $100 is better than 100 rubles. So you have to give them the context behind all of those things to make any sense as to why those things are so drastically different in value despite them being pieces of paper. Similarly, Bitcoin can appear that way because it's just code. Most people see when they interface with it, they're seeing long random strings of characters, and that's what they see. Mm-hmm. What secures Bitcoin is... Well, it's as in any currency, it's a trust in a system from its users, and the mechanism. Well, let me get the mechanism by which that happens in Bitcoin is through the expenditure of energy and something called proof of work. So, as I mentioned earlier, there are these computers that process transactions and expend a lot of energy, and the purpose behind that is the energy expended adds to the record such that in order to change the record, you need to expend even more energy than that. So the idea being, it makes no sense to lie about the record if you're going to expend all that energy anyway. So you should be truthful about it if you're going to make any money doing it, which this is very high level and it's a very complicated subject matter to get into. So I'll keep it brief. So if you have follow-up questions to that, please throw them my way.
I don't know. So it could be that the answer is complicated, but the dollar, born a long time ago with
full
founding
faith and credit of the U.S.
Well, at
Treasury.
this point, it is.
That's what they say.
But originally, up until Nixon removed the gold window, it was backed by gold. There was something behind the dollar, right? And removing that gold backing has been, potentially the source of a lot of problems, a lot of chicanery.
Yes.
A lot of shenanigans.
Yes.
A lot of malarkey has gone on due to the dollar not being backed by anything. And none of the currencies are backed by anything anymore, right? And what we need to do is go back to a currency that's backed by something, right? Like that's what BRICS is working on, is they want to create like a gold-backed currency, something along those lines. And so what is it that would be backing Bitcoin? I'm not sure that you've answered that question in a way that I would find... that my Uncle Stu would find satisfying, shall we say.
So the
heat? It's backed by heat?
What backs
you got to have
Bitcoin,
a one-word noun, almost. You got to have like a...
Work. Decentralized work.
Huh.
That's what gives Bitcoin value. Because a currency is only as valuable as you can trust it. like if nobody trusts it, it's not valuable. The trust in Bitcoin is knowing that 5, 10, 100 years from now, it's going to be the same, and you know how much will exist at any given point in time. So there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin to ever exist. About 19-ish million of them have been mined so far. And that finite supply and the knowledge that it's going to remain finite is one of the aspects to it that give it its value and why people value it so much more highly over other currencies.
I like that answer. That's the YouTube short. That's the one that's going to get the 10,000 views. So that's I love that. And here comes the next YouTube short. When I'm always discussing currency and people say, well, there's nothing backing Bitcoin or whatever, or there's nothing backing the US dollar. And it's true, but there's nothing backing gold either.
Nope.
Right? Like gold doesn't have a backing.
No, its industrial use, like percentage-wise of its value, is a minuscule part.
And people be, well, yeah, you're using this, you're using that, but that's not the point because currency, and so this is my short and pithy thing to say that I think is kind of paradigm shifting for some people to hear it. Currency is simply a wealth transfer technology. What backs the currency is all the things you're willing to exchange it for.
Correct.
So the fact, and people don't realize this about the US dollar. What backs the US dollar? You know what backs the US dollar? Literally every product and service in the entire world, because anyone and everyone in the entire world is willing to take dollars. So as long as that continues, the dollar is backed by literally everything in the world. And so that's like my big brain thing to tell people, and I'm so glad to have an opportunity to say this, is inflation is a global flat tax.
Correct.
That inflating the US dollar reserve, the currency, the total amount of currency, when we inflate that, what we're doing is siphoning the wealth from literally everybody who's willing to take dollars.
Correct.
And so while we spend,
anybody's holding dollars.
While we spend, and so that's why government deficits actually make us richer. And that's kind of the mind-blowing thing, because it allows us...
go up anyway.
Well,
a bigger number.
No. The real wealth, this is what I'm saying, is that the dollars are backed by everything that's accepted by them. So we print the dollars, and then we buy things internationally and literally bring them here with the dollars, because they still continue to accept them even though we're inflating them.
It is kind of a form of neocolonialism, unfortunately.
In a very real way, it allows us to tax the rest of the world for our domestic programs.
Correct.
And that's why when we give away foreign aid or we do this, that internationally, people are like, oh, what are we doing that for? Are you kidding?
It's not coming from your taxes.
It is.
Sort of.
It's coming through inflation, but the inflation tax is paid more by, I would be willing to bet, by the international community than it is because Americans, and here's the next, I'm sorry to bogart
you're fine.
your segment,
you're right. You're absolutely right.
I'm on a tear here, and I've had this in my mind a long time.
Do it,
man. Americans don't hold cash. We're all up to our eyeballs in debt, and people act like it's a bad thing. It's a smart thing. Holding dollars is how you get taxed inflation. If you hold negative dollars, you receive the benefits of inflation. Do you understand?
It's the smart thing to do from a personal interest standpoint is probably the way to say it. It's not the smart thing to do from a public interest standpoint, in my opinion.
The international community is who is holding.
Correct.
The actual holder of dollars is the internet, and they are rubes for doing so. Oh,
beep.
I forgot to put my phone on silent. Nobody call me right now. Okay. Well, I think I think that's enough. We're going to move on to the next segment, Fargo favorites.
Let's do it.
Because we're already.
Let's do it.
I'm sorry, I went off.
You're good.
I went off. You know what? I have. If you go back and watch the videos, I've done this before, and you know what the subject matter was last time? Federal Reserve.
Oh, yeah. Money's important.
Yeah, it sure is. That's why I love having you on, and I really, really, really want to come to those Bitcoin meetups.
Absolutely.
That's next Thursday.
Not next Thursday.
Not next Thursday. First Thursday?
Second Thursday.
Second Thursday?
Second Thursday of every month. January 9th is the next one.
We got to get a second meeting in there during daytime hours.
I can make that happen.
Yeah?
We'll make it happen.
We can do 2 meetings a month. And
I
then,
like that.
And then we'll get another Bitcoin person on. so that I can black out and yell at them.
There you go.
So
Absolutely.
All right, we are gonna go to break, and we come back. Fargo favorites, don't go nowhere.